Now I'm going to get present again. Welcome to Your Story of Sex. How to uplift, upgrade, and improve your fulfillment in sex and intimacy through only a conversation. So I've had a lot of sex.
Good for you.
Statistically more than most people will. And the real question then becomes, does that make for a fulfilling life? Is that actually what we want? Is that, good? Culture says it's good. Society says it's good in many and various ways through programming, through movies and TV. And, creating sex, creating relationships energetically, for visualization. I've done it in really ridiculous ways, is also easy. But what's hard is getting to the truth of what your views are on sex, your subconscious beliefs, perceptions, your interpretations of what sex is, that impact and that influence and that frame how you experience it. So there are three kind of chapters to my story that I'm going to lead you through. And as I do, you will begin to see yourself in my sharing. You will see, to a greater or lesser degree, some of those interpretations that you might have that are keeping you from accessing the fullness of what's possible in sex, and also actual satisfaction and fulfillment and connection in sex, and also by extension in relationships. I'm just, I did a workshop on relationships 4 months ago. You can talk to me about that specifically later. Right now, the focus is on sex. So, let's rewind. Chapter 1. It's 8th grade. I'm in my grandfather's bedroom. This is going to get worse, so just prepare yourself. I'm in my grandfather's bedroom, and I'm supposed to be studying. I'm supposed to be doing, homework. And as luck would have it, there's this channel. Still remember, channel 52. And it is clearly one of those channels that you're not supposed to get, because when you put it on, it's all mangled and messed up and colorful in a weird way. And then it disappears, and so you have to change and then change back. I'm watching this channel, and there's people doing really strange but interesting things. And I'm like, this is really cool. So I stand there, and one thing leads to another. So that's one path to masturbation to pornography, which was my first encounter with sex, or experiencing sex. And, the way that consumerist capitalism is set up, it's a commodified experience. It's like you pay money, or you go on a red tube or whatever, and you experience something that someone was paid to produce. And there are narratives, there are stories of how it's supposed to go. And so from a young child watching this, I was like, okay, so that's what I'm supposed to do. That's how it's supposed to go, subconsciously. So that was the first limit, or story, or interpretation that I made up, was seeing someone else do what I thought sex was, and deciding, oh yeah, that's what I'm supposed to do. And then there was how I expressed what I was feeling in my body, the sexual desire, the turn on, the excitement, the curiosity. What's right or wrong about that? I don't even know. So I was Catholic at the time. In a all-boys, khaki-wearing, name-tag sporting, sexually repressed, out the wazoo Jesuit high school in New Orleans, which I still respect the education that I got, except for the sex part. Not a word other than complete straight-up abstinence. And birth control will send you straight to the bowels of fiery hell. So, I found that, and I also, my grandmother had this amazing, she was an artist, book. It wasn't even photographs. It was like the female body. I was just like, thank you, Grandma. So, this was followed by self-judgment, shame, guilt, sitting in a small, dark box next to a man in a magical outfit, making magical gestures, speaking magical words that were supposed to forgive me. And not to say I don't absolutely love and adore Catholicism, great, beautiful tradition. Not to say I'm telling anyone not to be a Catholic if you are. I really respect that. Religion is your choice. However, there is a thing that comes from multiple angles. Catholicism, Hinduism, Protestantism. Usually it's religion, but it can also be upbringing that pushes down, brackets out, cuts off the conversation around sex. This was my experience. I had nobody to talk to. I had no idea what was going on or how it was supposed to work or who I was supposed to be. I just kind of stumbled into it. Next, what happened? Get ready for another fun story. I am almost 18. In fact, it's 17 years and 364 days. One of my best friends knows, hey man, there's this thing you do, getting laid. You haven't done it. And you've been talking to this woman, I know she lives 3 hours away. You've been talking to her over MySpace, which I know ages me. I'm proud of being 30 and the gray hairs in my beard, by the way. So he lies to his parents that he's spending the night at my house. I lied to my mother that I'm spending the night at his house. He basically steals their van and drives me 3.5 hours so that I can have sex for the first time.
This is a good friend.
This is a great friend. I love you, Stephen Durden. Now he's been named. We might have to edit that out, I don't know. So, sex occurred for me. The way that I interpreted sex at that time was, and there was a little bump in the road where I became an atheist, right? Between me just like masturbating on my own to me, like allowing myself to be okay with that, because no longer is there a strange man in the sky who's going to send me to hell for it. And it opened the world. So there's a connection between our beliefs in general and our beliefs about sex. And I would look into that. If you're feeling pressure or shame or guilt, look at what beliefs you have around sex. Who has told you what about sex? It could be your parents, it could be your family, it could be friends. So that's the first place to look. So I gave away, or I lost my virginity, which is another interpretation. These things are embedded in language. Getting laid. So who has used that phrase? Okay, what does it convey to you? How does it feel when you say getting laid? Scadio?
I don't use that term very much anymore. I don't know. I like something passive, something less than optimal.
Thank you.
Mine purely physical.
Yeah. Yes.
A process of acquisition.
Yes.
When you said it, it made me think of an act similar to one of that.
Right? And there's a joke in here about God putting the plumbing next to the fun house, but I won't tell it. That was the joke. That was it. There's no more content there. Yeah, God. Sorry. So
So the thing that really popped in my mind right away, and
the buffer and top is like, it's a boast.
Yeah. Thank you.
How about like you scored?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there are, go ahead, last one.
The idea in ways, like how to perform in order to like achieve an outcome.
So thank you, who is seeing so far that how we use words carries interpretations that aren't necessarily what's going on or not necessarily helpful around sex? Who sees this themselves at least a little bit so far? Cool. Yeah. So I'm not here to do all of that work. I'm here to get you started on that work. So anytime you hear someone use like get some, made it even has a little bit of a feel to it. Making love actually feels a little better because there is, so in my experience, especially when we get to chapter 3, there is a connection, intricate and like impossible to extricate between intimacy and sex. It's there, our bodies release oxytocin, we bond. Yes, there's a spectrum of like genetically more likely to pair bond, more likely to be promiscuous. Promiscuous meaning more than one sexual partner, not like to have sex in a way that makes me want to like talk about them on social media. Which I wouldn't do, slut shaming. Fuck that. But just straight up. So during this first period, guilt, shame, confusion, lack of conversation. I mean, the most conversation I really had about sex, I didn't even finish which is interesting, right? Look at that. I'm even doing the work as we're in the room. I didn't even finish. It's just like Jeremy was saying, there's a connotation that you have to perform. There's a connotation or an assumption that the man has to ejaculate. That's like what sex is. And if it doesn't happen, you didn't do it right, and you didn't perform, either the man or the woman didn't perform. Like these are barriers to self-expression, to creativity, to fun, to connection. If you've got these things in your mind when you're having sex, it's gonna be like, I'm stressed, I need to figure this out, I need to make this happen. Let go of your interpretations and start to notice them. So this period was kind of like a rubber band, right? So we had piling on interpretations, and most of the interpretations like being released, that's only happened for me in the past like 2 to 3 years. So whenever I mention one of these interpretations that I had, think of them like layering on, and things becoming more and more confusing and like restraining for me. So sex is first that thing that everybody else is having that I'm not, that I need, that I have to find out some way to make happen. I've got to perform all of this. We do it furtively. The most conversation I really had about sex at the time was like, okay, Steve had to go, we had to leave. So he walks in and he's like, dude, I'm sorry, we've got to go. And I've still got the condom on, so I just zip up, I get in his car, we drive back down the interstate, and I'm like, dude, so this is the most conversation about sex at the time. Still got the condom on. Sorry. And he was like, yeah, just throw it out. I was like, oh, okay. So I rolled down the window. Still wonder what the people behind me must have thought. Pretty rude, to say condom on the freeway. So that's period 1, kind of stumbly, kind of confusing, kind of fuzzy, ridiculous a little bit. Chapter 1. Chapter 2. It was the next year, after the senior year for me in high school, I went to a school for like eclectic, kind of smart people. You had to have a certain level of SAT score or something. Louisiana School for Math, Science, and the Arts. I went from, all boys Catholic khaki wearing to, I can wear whatever I want. Got my first laptop, my first cell phone, and there are women. How do I deal with this? This was a particularly sensitive time for me. This was a time when it was easy for me to be imprinted. And it was a time when I felt like I was running behind. I was like, I'm really missing out on this experience that everybody around me is having. You see in movies and culture, etc. So I read a book. Oh, look at that. Called The Game. I'm sure many people have many triggers and responses to this. I'll contextualize it for you. The game, Penetrating the Secret Society of Pickup Artists by Neil Strauss. It's well written. What my experience of it was, oh, so I can be one way, and I can become another way. I'm a nerdy, sci-fi loving introvert. Awkward with people, anxious around them. I can become what I have become since coming here. Extroverted, expressing his charisma, public speaker, coach, salesman, all of this. And good with people, great at creating connections, sex, all of this, relationships. And so I saw that journey in him. I saw that same kind of craving, that same kind of like feeling like missing out. And he went out for 2 years. He studied, he learned, he practiced, he gathered data, he gathered information, he got feedback, he kept working, he kept booking. He was aiming at mastery. He attained mastery. Now the issue with all of that, people are not something to be mastered. People are people to be encountered, to be acknowledged, to be received, to be appreciated, not games, to be played. And even he didn't realize that. He didn't realize what he was doing to himself in framing things that way. Sex is something for me to get. Sex is something for me to achieve. Sex means a lot about me. And I'm missing part of my personality. I'm not a good man. I'm not having a lot of sex. There are men walking around out there with this thought, tortured by it. I was. So, I read the game, and I put my mind on becoming effective, powerful, capable, good at the game, like him. I had all this stuff about who I should be, how I should be, what I should say, how I should act. That was further, covering up any hint of an authentic, self. And I always had this sense when I would use techniques or whatever, I'd have this sense of like, were they ever really relating to me? So this is something to look at. Why are you having sex? When you have sex, what are you feeling because of it? So just as sharing was what was missing from period 1, number 2, I will say, is exploration of sex. A lot of people's sexual universes are so much more diverse and intricate and interesting than they will ever publicly acknowledge because they think they're weird, abnormal. If you like to masturbate to 2 squirrels chasing a shoe in front of a beautiful naked lady, that is weird. I don't personally not judge that, but that's kind of the most random I can come up. So what happened here that was great was exploration. And exploration is awesome with your partner, with your wife, with someone you meet who you feel aligned with and you're open to. I'm kind of skipping ahead into chapter 3 when I talk about alignment. But, there is a lot to discover about yourself in connection to someone else, sexual and otherwise. You get to learn who you are and who you're capable of being when energies mix, when chemistry spurts, when sparks fly. And so let's fast forward just a little bit. I'm doing this game thing. I'm studying in the seduction community. It's called pickup artistry, whatever. I study under Alan Reyes and Ross Jeffries, people who I still respect what they did, but also they didn't get it quite right. 2012, I'm on the phone in my mother's bedroom, of all places. My mother's not there. Oh, it's all stories for me today. I'm on the phone with my ex-girlfriend, one of the most attractive, beautiful, intelligent, sweet, kind, generous people I've ever met. Her name is Jenna. And we broke up a couple weeks previously. And has anybody seen the movie Closer? Anybody? It's like one guy. Okay, well, that movie is renowned for these really rigorous, really authentic, but punchy and visceral conversations about sex. And I loved her so much, and I missed her so much. I had a dream the week after we broke up that we cuddled and had sex together in her new bed. And for me, what I didn't realize throughout this whole period was there was a part of me that was deeply nourished by sex as intimacy. And that was where I was in my relationship with her. And she was so wounded by the breakup that she went and had sex anywhere that she could. And I mean, I'm not accusing her of anything. I'm just saying she had more sex than I had when we were on the phone. And for some reason, I asked her about it. She told me, and I made up the interpretation. I invented this story, basically, that I am missing having enough sex. You know, I need more. I need even more. So what was already kind of insane, I mean, when you look at all these stories and interpretations that were on top of me, got even worse. I decided, all right, you know what? And I didn't realize it. I didn't see that that was a judgment that I was making in the background that was motivating me. And so, you know, I'm involved in this workshop series presentation company called Landmark. I tried to go for like a month or so, inventing the possibility of having happiness without love and sex. It lasted like a month. I was just like, yeah, I can do this. I can live, watch The Matrix, study meditation and stuff. And it was like, when I'm missing something, I was suppressing again. And so it was this mix of the story I had made up from the experience with Jenna and the actual innate expression and desire came back with a vengeance. Like who I invented myself as was the possibility of being Casanova, who was this 18th century Venetian world-traveling author, philosopher, who also is renowned mostly for being a ladies' man. And what was funny is I fulfilled his story to a T. He was left by his mother when he was very young, and he was looking for his whole life for that kind of affection, attention, and intimacy with his partners. But he didn't realize it, he didn't think that that was what was going on. And so he was chasing ass with an open heart that they could feel, which was awesome for his partners because they got to experience a certain depth and intensity of emotion. But for him, it was never enough. He was always up to chasing more and more. And this same kind of thing happened to me. I kept pursuing what I thought was just casual sex. It was just, you know, as Marcus Aurelius puts it, the rubbing of entrails followed by a spasm. This is what sex is when you take all the meaning away. And, you know, I mean, it felt good a lot of the time. It was fun, it inspired poetry, it created connection. Going to New York and meeting a new woman and like connecting with her, like in a really intimate, deep way, in sex. Like there's just like one instance from that period that I'm just like, yeah, that didn't turn out horrifically. I didn't like have a mangled, heartbroken experience afterwards. So I won't say that it was all bad. I will just say that my experience of myself during that period was bouncing off the walls, was running up against the rocks. There was a natural flow of the river of my nature that I was resisting. There was a way that I could have chosen to be aligned with, a flow that I wasn't. And I kept suffering from the consequences of that. So, enter 2017. We'll just skip ahead a little bit. Oh, actually, yeah. So actually 2015. I have realized through a lot of the work that I've done that I need to be focused on self-love. I have realized by this point that it's something important for me, put my attention on and energy into. Because that was what I was craving through sex, was acknowledgement, approval, appreciation, affirmation, things that I had not been giving to myself. And knowing makes no difference. Knowing makes no difference unless there's something really at stake. In fact, Neil Strauss realized the same thing about himself. There's a sequel that kind of corrects a lot of the neuroses that you get in the game called, interestingly enough, The Truth. And basically he cheats on a woman that he loves, and he does all of the inner work necessary to figure out why that is, what patterns from childhood he was working out, what reactions he was still having to his mother and father. And so I was haunted by this idea that, maybe I don't want casual sex. Maybe I'm actually chasing ass because I'm resisting dealing with something in me. Okay, I'm not looking at that. Which is how it happens for people. You see something, you resist, you walk away, you come back to it, you get reminded over and over. Here's where I'm going to finally get to 2017. Start chapter 3. So chapter 1 was Sweet Lou. That's what they called me in Catholic high school. Chapter 2 is Casanova. Chapter 3, just Lewis. And early in 2017, I'm driving a truck. I have horrific insomnia. I am, suffering. I am upset. I am tense all the time. My only source of solace is my girlfriend, Emily. I drive 40 minutes clear across Austin from Stastny to Anderson Mill just to cuddle, have sex, and connect. Because she's my only source of love and validation at that point. Not even me was validating me. Or not consciously. So, Cecil DeMille has this quote. He says, "We never break the law. We just break ourselves against the law." And, I had finally reached a place where I broke. I broke against my own nature, and I literally broke a window. I was so codependent in that relationship, so in need of and attached to her presence, her sex, her attention, that when she would go out of communication, or when she would disappear for days at a time, which that's also unhealthy, but I'm not here to talk about her. I'm going to point the finger at me and to have you see everything there is to see here. But when she would go off, I would get really upset. I'd be like, this feels really bad. There's something wrong with you, and I would lash out and get upset. So around that time, I reached out to a coach, one of my dearest friends now, who was like, hey, you're in a codependent relationship, and you need to work on loving yourself. So I was like, all right, complete 180. I am going to go on a 90-day fast from sex, from dating, from relationships, from orgasm, from all of it. And it was one of the most productive, engaged, fulfilling, creative, fertile periods in my whole life. I started a podcast that runs to this day. I sowed the initial seeds of what became this. I created my highest paying clients with ease and speed. So my sexual energy was finally going somewhere other than into a woman's vagina. Which is what I distinguished entering this third period, was that sexual energy is meant to flow. Each of us has a natural expression, a healthy expression that we need to expose. So here's your little fun acronym, right? To help you remember all of what we've learned and discussed here. Sharing, exploration, and exposure. No, not becoming an erotic dancer. Exposing the false and distinguishing it from the true in your interpretations of sex. S-E-X. I'm liking breeze today, the 3 chapters too. In this last chapter, I began to do that work, the most important work of seeing your interpretations and letting them go. Sex is not something you need. I mean, there's celibate monks who live for the entirety of their lives, circulating sexual energy, becoming closer to God, all these sorts of things. You can channel it into creating things. And I won't say that I'm perfect. I certainly do make mistakes still. But now I know there is a natural course. There's something, not God, but there is a natural course for me to align myself with. Personally, I'm on the edge of thinking it might be, for me, something like monogamy. Think and Grow Rich, for example, the mystery of sex transmutation. Every man is driven by his desire to connect sexually with a woman to accomplish great and amazing things in the world, to kind of impress women. That's also the Red Queen theory, which you can look that up. Evolutionary biologists claim that's basically why most of human culture, music, literature, art, it's just guys trying to impress women in order to get sex. Don't know how much statistical evidence there is for that. It's a really great book. But anyway, what have I found that has helped me to align myself with my highest good and my highest choice in sex? Several things. If you haven't read these, they are amazing. The Way of the Superior Man. What an arrogant title. The men who are here are better than everybody else. No, it's about a man who wants to be the highest expression of himself. Better than where you go as driven by what is called in many New Age circles the lower natures, right? There's an integration of your whole body, your whole energy system that's possible. It is so much more fulfilling and satisfying. And this is the best articulation I've found of it. If you haven't read it, read it. If you haven't read it recently, read it again. And my experience with that was like, oh, this explains why she was responding that way in that relationship. This explains how I'm feeling now. Second of all, love cards. Based on an ancient system of Vedic astrology, one of the most weird experiences was to have this book be opened and have pieces of my personality articulated in ways that were never more clear. And to be like, oh, that is, I do have the power to nuke people with attention. And that does actually make me powerful. Okay. So this will be here for you to come and find your personal day and do some examination. So anyway, I want to take some popcorn sharing. What have you gotten from the workshop? We're almost finished. I just want to check in. So what is your biggest takeaway? Thank you.
Liz, can you repeat that sort of?
Basically, what you said is how powerful our words are and how powerful the meaning and the interpretation we add to our experiences. Yeah, that was basically the message of the whole thing. I tried to keep it simple this time. Usually I'm pretty wavy and creative. Go ahead.
There's no wrong decisions, and everything that we do is help understand ourselves more.
Yes, thank you. That's a hugely important point. So sharing helps us release the shame and guilt, especially what you'll see in Dr. Hazel Grace Yates' presentation later on. And then experience helps us learn what's actually there. What is going on? And then, exposure helps us to see, oh, okay, and start releasing. And you can actually do all of these at the same time. You can be in bed, having sex, having a conversation, oh, I'm seeing this. Anyway, one of the things that we forgot to do for Mira's presentation, which we'll do on the break, and then we're also doing for me, is if you have any desire to have a longer conversation with any particular presenter, comes up here, we'll be passing around a yellow notepad for you to just write your names down. We already have your emails, so we'll contact you. So if anybody wants to be in more connection or communication with me specifically, raise your hand and we'll get you. Cool. Actually, keep your heads up.
Why not just?
Yeah, just pass it around.
Okay.
Meanwhile, it's funny, she said the man who deserves no introduction. I'm going to steal that phrase. I am committed to you guys being surprised and delighted by extraordinary gifts and experiences in this room. And the third most magnificent of the resources I have for you to distinguish, articulate, begin to go to work on what is my, sexual blueprint, what is the highest good and highest choice for me in sex to align with, once I've done a lot of this work, is the person who started chapter 3, who got me present to love cards and had me realize, I'm in a codependent relationship and that needs to end in order for me to both be physically and mentally healthy. He is one of my best friends and the founder of Windows into Wellness, as well as the Living Well Method, our special guest speaker, Arttemis Keszainn.
Thanks, everybody. Hi.
Hi.
Hello. I'm a little nervous. I've never taught this information before, so please vote my victory. There's a saying, vote victory, seek perfection. I'm founder of Windows New Wellness. I'm creator of the Living Well method. My gift in life is to bridge ancient wisdom and modern technology, equipping you with the tools to heal and thrive at all levels of life. I have 18 years of experience in holistic health, and I've served over 18,000 people in the past 18 years. Excuse me, about 30,000 people in the past 18 years. And what I'm sharing with you today is very special to my heart because it's the essence of our desires, the essence of who we are as men and women. So the title of my talk is Elevating Your Sexual Life and Your Creative Expression to Understanding the Fullest Expression of Your Divine Masculine and Divine Feminine. And I want to start with a prayer. I want to start us in our hearts. So I'm a big believer in conscious language. I'm a believer in the power of the spoken word to heal. And I believe in invisible forces of light and sound that surround us and help us heal our being, our emotional bodies. So I want to do an interactive experience in the heart. And when we do heart math and heart-focused breath, we're also going to be doing some prayers and decrees. And so I invite you to speak these words out loud with deep feeling. In the practice of affirmation, there's a saying from Saint Germain that says, when you speak your words, speak them out loud with deep feeling. When you can feel the words deeply enough in your heart, you will have instantaneous manifestation in your body. Speak your words out loud with deep feeling, and when you can feel the meaning in your words deeply enough, you can have instantaneous manifestation. So these prayers I'm going to give you in this meditation are very powerful for healing shame and feeling your worthiness to be loved, to be deeply loved, and to be divinely loved. So everyone, take your right hand, place it on your heart. Take a deep breath in, relax your neck and shoulders, place your feet on the floor. Deep, deep, deep breath in, exhale fully. Drop your attention down into the center of your chest. Fill this room with golden white light, and imagine that you can see that light streaming into your heart, like a river of light from a river of light. Take a deep heart breath in, breathing in the light of God. Deep breath in, exhaling from the heart. Relaxing your eyes, relaxing your jaw, relaxing your neck. Heart breath in, deep full body breath. And exhaling fully and completely. And I call in the angel of love, Chamuel, angels of mercy, angels of compassion, angels of forgiveness. Come into our hearts, come into our mind, our thoughts, and our thinking. Teach us to see only the truth. Be in our legs, our walking and our understanding. Teach us to stand in our purpose and to know our Dharma. Angels of love, angels of mercy, angels of compassion and forgiveness. Be in our hands, our holding and our touching. Teach us to care and to give compassion where it is needed. Be in our eyes, our sight and our seeing. Teach us to see only your perfection. Angels of light, light expand through our hearts. And be in our voice, our words and our speaking. And teach us to speak what is pure and true. And be in our hearts, expanding through love and mercy, and teach us to give mercy and love where it is needed. Take a deep heart breath. Feel the presence of light in this room. Feel the presence of love in this room. And ask yourself, where does love come from? Ask your heart, where does love come from? Slowly open your eyes. Dr. David Hawkins says that essence will always speak louder than perception. So this talk is to raise our awareness of our essence as men and women. What is the fullest expression of the divine feminine? What is the fullest expression of the divine masculine? And how is your essence, the truth, that which is going to be true 1,000 years ago and true 1,000 years from now, how is that going to help you grow in a relationship? How is your essence, that which is true for you, that is universal, how is that going to help you heal your hearts? Because we all have wounds in our heart to heal, to have conscious relationships. Where does love come from? Does it come from humans? Do we need human love to be loved? These are good questions to contemplate. Are we seeking love, sex, and intimacy because we're missing something? Or can we seek connection and affection already being loved, already whole and complete? When we know our source code of love, when we know where love comes from, and we're connected to the stream and the ocean of love and mercy, what do we desire from that place? These are very important questions to ask in partnership, in a relationship. Because so many times we're seeking love because we feel like we're missing something. Or we stay in a relationship based on the fear of losing love. And we're settling for love because we fear losing. But the love doesn't come from humans, it comes through humans when we feel already worthy of being loved. The love doesn't come from us, it comes through us by our worthiness of being loved. Everyone say with me, I trust in love.
I
Trust in love.
Yeah, right on, guys. Now say, I am love.
I am loved.
I am deeply loved.
I am deeply loved.
I am deeply and divinely.
I am deeply and divinely loved.
I am worthy of being loved.
I am worthy of being loved.
I trust.
I trust in love.
I love my trust.
I love my trust.
I receive love.
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 I am worthy of being loved.
I am worthy of being loved.
I receive.
I receive my love.
And my love stays.
And my love stays.
So these are the prayers. I trust in you. I receive love. I am worthy of being loved. I am deeply loved. I am deeply and divinely loved. And my love stays. Love is the cohesive power of the universe. Love is what holds the electrons around the atom. Love is what makes children smile from the inside. Love is my 3-year-old son running up to me when I come home and hugging me. And it's loving without attachment. So when we know that as love is our source code, we already feel loved, then where's the desire for sex and connection and affection? What do we desire in this place of wholeness? And so I'm going to take you on a journey, seeing the end from the beginning. Because when you're healing your heart, and you're healing your sexuality, and you're healing your desires, you're gonna start looking to the essence to find clarity in what your perceptions are. Essence always speaks louder than perception, according to Dr. Hawkins. Great book, by the way. There you go. You want to start healing your sexual shame. And this one back there is going to rock your world. Dr. Elizabeth's. So, this topic to me is sacred. I've never taught this before, but I've served over 30,000 people and I've seen women suffer in a relationship. I've helped women heal their wounds. And I've helped so many people find love without attachment. And so, this concept of the fullest expression of the divine masculine, the fullest expression of the divine feminine, when you understand your essence and what motivates you and makes you happy, then you work backwards from there. Does that make sense? So, in the work of David Gator, he talks about how men are fulfilled through their mission and purpose. A man will find his deepest joy and happiness when he becomes freedom, when he becomes free, when he fulfills his purpose. And the essence of a woman is the exchange of love and intimacy. So every woman in the room, you have this desire for love. It's pure. It's your essence. And every man in this room, the love of your woman is really just a nice bonus. Because as a man, what you desire is freedom. Is that true, men? Yeah, to be free. And often that's through entrepreneurship and business, which is mission and purpose. When a man discovers his mission and purpose and knows who he is and knows how he serves, how sexy is he? Very sexy. Yeah, you're the ladies in the room. Right on, girls. And it's this beautiful understanding of that essence speaks louder than perception. So women know that your essence is love and intimacy, and that men's essence is mission and purpose. And as you start to rise up into these deep universal truths, let's talk about what do they look like, what do they sound like, what do they feel like. So a man, when he is fulfilled, he knows who he is. He knows how he serves. He has more than enough finances and resources to serve humanity. He lives his life on purpose. When a divine man is in his fullest expression, he's still, open, faithful in every moment. When he looks at a beautiful woman, he breathes into her beauty like he would smell a rose. Never lusting over her, just appreciating her beauty. When a man is in his divine expression, his fullest expression, he exalts the goddess in every woman. And every woman is a goddess. Every woman is beautiful just the way they are, without judgment or criticism. When a man is in his fullest divine expression, his joy, happiness, and fulfillment first comes from his mission and purpose fulfilled. And then the love and the sex he receives from his woman is a nice bonus. And a beautiful exchange of love, I might add. But it's not necessary, because his mission comes first. Why am I here? I'm here to equip 1 million women and families with the tools and technologies to heal and thrive at all levels of life. I'm here to transform our healthcare system, creating systems of truth and healing at all levels. I live my mission and purpose every day through videos, products, programs, and live events. I love my life, and as I have been true to my mission and purpose, as I have done what David taught me, my marriage has improved immensely. Because I took my attention off my life. And I put it on my mission and purpose. And that's how I can give you these truths today, because I've been living this stuff. And asking myself, why are so many women suffering? It's because they care too much and they love with attachment. So what is a divine feminine in her fullest expression? Let me go back to that, because that's a big statement. It took me 15 years of coaching to understand that. When a woman cares too much, she's living in fear, worrying about what will happen to her children. And true care has no fear. When a woman cares, like think of the Divine Mother. If 1 million people died in Africa on the plague, would she stop growing fruits and vegetables? No, Divine Mother loves without attachment. She loves us. She gives unconditionally and without attachment. We could be dying, warring, killing each other. She doesn't get depressed. She doesn't feel codependent with us. She doesn't get cancer because her love wasn't received. Cancer is a toxic relationship. The relationship's so toxic, it's killing the person with cancer. I've learned. That's why this workshop, this conversation of conscious creation, sexuality, and intimacy is important. Because we get to heal all our relationships, not by needing love, but by understanding our source code of love, connecting to that source through our spiritual practices, and already feeling love, already being love. And then we seek relationship from that place of radiant wholeness of being. So what is the woman in her fullest expression look like, the divine feminine? Everyone touch your navel. This is your creative expression. This is your power center. We call this Dantian in Chinese medicine.
Yep.
Dantian, yes. So breath and nutrition and thought, word, and feeling come together here to create life, to create your body. 10 million cells are being created every second. Oops, there just went 10 million cells. And it's all being built here. But also the ability to create a business, to create a child, to create a product, create a program. It comes from here. So when a woman's in her highest divine expression, she knows who she is. She has clear identity. And her creative expression from here is strong and powerful. She doesn't need anyone to create. She creates power from a clear identity. A woman in her highest divine expression has a devotion to Source and God greater than the man. Ladies, know where your love comes from. It comes from Source. It comes from God, I am. I am that I am. In the statement, I am that I am, is there any other? No. You are already whole. Your love is the cohesive power of the universe. When a woman loves her Source and God within more than her need for men's love, then she starts to become a magnet. Think about that. Now, the whole room's consciousness just went. And this is why I'm here. Lewis invited me to bring the spiritual message today. I'm here to give you the essence, not the five senses. I'm here to give you what is universal, what is permanent, what is almost beyond description, but I'm doing my best to put it in words. When a woman loves her Source code, greater than her need for a man's love, then guess what, ladies? Your love doesn't come from your man, it comes through your man. Think about that. Because you are already loved. Ladies in the room, say with me, I am loved.
I am loved.
I am worthy of being loved.
I am worthy of being loved.
I am deeply loved.
I am deeply loved.
I am deeply and divinely.
I am deeply and divinely loved.
And the power of the name I am that I am, as you say those words over and over and over and over again, you will reconnect to the stream of love eventually. Because you are made from it. This is so special. This teaching is so special to me because I'm still healing this in myself. We're all healing shame, guys. Every one of us. And no amount of human love is going to heal shame. Only divine. You got to go direct. And rise up into the highest expression of your feminine and masculine energies. And then do the dance. And make love. And be in relationship. And create partnerships. And create businesses. And enjoy life. But don't do it from codependence and shame. Do it from the consciousness of I am love. I am already loved. I am deeply loved. I am deeply and divinely loved. And be about your spiritual practice every day. Whatever God is to you, connect to that Source. Tap the well every day. For me, I get up every morning, I pull out my dream book, I put on my essential oils, and I meditate. I work with the light and the sound of God every day, and I make the calls, because the call always compels the answer. And I've touched this in my heart to the point where I can give you this message today. That I am loved. I am deeply loved. And I am deeply and divinely loved. And for ladies, as you embody this truth, then you become a stream of love. It is your job to care. It is your job to make babies and build families and build a community. And we need you so badly. But it's not about needing you based on our love for you. It's about you rising up and getting into the stream of love. And then loving without attachment. That is your next level of evolution. Is to stop attaching to us for your love. I am not your source of love. God is. And how does a woman love without attachment? That's a good question. How does a woman care with integrity? How does it? Because you're wired for care. I love being loved by my wife. I love it when she makes me a delicious meal. I love it when she hugs me. I love being in the presence of her. But if she cares too much, and she gets into fear and worry and doubt, that is an error on her part. And so she has to have a strong identity. She has to have high self-esteem. She gets to know her creative expression and be powerful in her creative expression. She gets to heal the wounds in her heart and become healed in her heart, knowing that I am loved. I am deeply loved. I am deeply and divinely loved. I trust in love. I receive love. I receive love. I am worthy of being loved. These are powerful decrees for you to use and to practice and to feel. When you can feel the meaning of your words deeply enough, ladies, you can have instantaneous manifestation in your heart. You can heal the wounds, and you can become the divine feminine. And then in that place of already being loved, knowing your source code of love, you're a stream of love, and you're just creating. Your beauty is magnetic. You're creating so much joy and blessing for your partnership, for the businesses. This is where sexual transmutation really starts happening, is when the woman is confident in her identity. And you can make love to your business. You can make love to life. You can enter the feminine anywhere you go, confidently in yourself, because I know who I am. I know who I am. I know who I am. I know how I serve. And I care, but not that much. And that's when codependence becomes co-empowerment. So as the man begins to rise up in his mission and purpose, focusing single focus on his dharma, and as a woman rises up in her identity, self-esteem, and becomes loving without attachment, then we start to do this whole new conversation. It's a new paradigm for the world. This conversation I'm having is brand new for a lot of you, yes? This is brand new stuff. It is for me too. I've never taught this before, so I'm doing this with you. And I'm doing my own version of it. You know, we all get to rise up into our divine feminine and divine masculine and be God-free women and God-free men or men. I am that I am has no other. You are all that. And you get to be your own version of that. Men, I have some resources for you. Ladies, I have some resources for you because I'm just here to drop some nuggets of gold on the and invite this conversation. Also, if you desire more of what I'm teaching, I left some business cards back on the table, windows into bonus. For the men in the room.
Also, Artemis,
Yeah.
I'm going to pass this around.
Oh yeah, and just put your name up there, and if you want to, get some more of this information, just contact me. Thank you for listening today. I appreciate you. This subject is so near and dear to me because I've gone through so much healing in my heart around this topic to get to the place where I can teach it, and I'm still healing. That's the beauty of life, is that you can be, a lot of people in my community, they look at me. They see me as a mentor, a role model, and I am. And I'm also healing. I can also be vulnerable, I can be transparent. So 5 years ago, I was $80,000 in debt, and I was struggling financially. Now I have 7 income streams and 2 businesses, and I'm thriving. I have more than enough people, places, and opportunities. I'm having to start saying no more. Yes. And what got me there was this. Men, listen to your wishes, your command. Become a deliberate creator of your life. And just get my business card and email me, and I'll send you the audios. This audio changed my life because it put me in the driver's seat. Also, men, as Lewis mentioned, The Way of the Superior Man. Read this book, and if you haven't read it in 2 years, read it again. Because men, your woman is not your source of happiness. Your mission is. But then you have to ask the question, why am I here? Where am I going? And ironically, women, you ask that question too for the divine masculine in you. Just know that if you have a uterus, know where your love comes from first. So men, read this book. For ladies, one of the biggest traps you're going to get into when you're exchanging love and intimacy is what we call codependence. And in the next EAN, I may do an entire workshop just on that topic and how we deal with it in the heart and in the relationship. I have a 6-level process of transforming codependence into co-empowerment. And codependence, ladies, is when your happiness is dependent upon your man, or a person, place, condition, or thing. So for example, you make me feel this when you do that. Or, honey, how are we doing? Are we okay? Let me think, damn it. Let me think. Those are all codependent language. That with conscious language, ladies, when you embrace a new human operating system based on pure speech, which is the language of the heart, you can transform codependence into co-empowerment. So for ladies, I recommend you get this book, Conscious Language. Go to chapter 13. Look at where you're codependent with life and start healing your codependence through pure speech. Because thought and word and reality are all the same thing. And when you change what you say to your partner from a self-empowered place, it changes how you think and feel. And when you change how you think and feel, it changes what you say. So there's a new human operating system on our planet, and it's called conscious language. And this is the most powerful way you can heal codependence, is to choose to speak consciously and use pure speech in your language. My wife and I, when we got married from the consciousness of I am that I am. And we wrote all our wedding vows in conscious language. And we spoke our vows before 60 witnesses in conscious language. And we use conscious language as our operating system to maintain healthy boundaries. So it doesn't get all wishy-washy. Our boundaries are strong. I feel, I ask, I request, I support you. How can I support you? This is the new language of the new paradigm of relationships. And it's not coming from Arttemis, it's coming through my teacher and his work with conscious language. And you all get to adopt this as a new human operating system. And particularly for women, whenever your thoughts or feelings are on someone else, you are being codependent. Byron Katie said there's three kinds of business. There's your business, there's your man's business, and there's God's business. So be careful when you're in God's business. And conscious language is I. It always comes from I am, I feel, I have, I request, I ask. So it's the most powerful resource I know for all women to heal, starting with language. And then come see a coach, like Hazel Grace back there, or myself, someone who's equipped with tools to help you reclaim your worthiness. To build self-worth and self-esteem is a journey, not a destination. So every one of us is going to need some coaching. Kirk is a coach. Lewis is a coach. Hazel Grace is a coach. This beautiful brother back there is a coach. When we have wounds based on unfulfilled needs and not feeling loved early in life. Oh, by the way, the source of all shame is not receiving the love you wanted from mom and dad. Where does your love come from? Not mom and dad. They're just stewards. Everyone say, I am loved.
I am loved.
I trust in love.
I trust in love.
I receive love.
I receive love.
I am worthy of receiving.
I am worthy of receiving love.
I am deeply loved.
I am deeply loved.
I am deeply and divinely loved.
I am deeply and divinely loved.
In the consciousness of I am that I am, by the power of your words, these frequencies are landing in your body. It is your capacity to receive this blessing that you will heal your shame. And then you will already be loved, and then you can have great relationships. Because with this foundation of worthiness and self-love and self-confidence, man with his mission, a woman knowing her identity and having intimate care, the dance of partnership is a whole new paradigm. In addition to conscious language for the ladies and the gents, study Dr. David Hawkins, Power versus Force and Letting Go, because you need to understand, you need to have a language for how you're going to heal your emotional body. And this book takes you on a journey through the scale of consciousness, knowing that at 500 you're going to enter love, and at 540 you're going to enter unconditional. And that in order to rise up into that, you're going to learn this book. So these are some resources. I know I just laid some beautiful nuggets out for you guys. I love you all. I love my community. I love being an instrument for you all, helping you rise up. And so look for me at the next event. I'll be here teaching some more stuff. So God bless you.
Enjoy your special super secret surprise bonus speaker?
Yes.
Awesome. For him, so the way the Q&A is set up, because there's a Q&A at the end of the day, just to answer that question real quick. is all of the participants who are here who will be answering questions. The presenters who are here. And the presenters who aren't, you'll write down your questions, hand them to me, and I'll make sure that they get them answered. So, including Arttemis, because he's leaving early. Yeah. First of all, I want to acknowledge that we started late and our schedule has been a little off since. We'll realign so that you guys have your breaks. We're now on schedule. Perfect. Well, that's mysterious, serendipitous, and fun. We are now in divine alignment again. And we have delicious, actually, come back. Delicious raw chocolate milk for opening the heart. Try to keep it here.
Yeah, so the chocolate drink factory has got raw coconut milk, cacao, mesquite, vanilla, lucuma, and reishi mushroom powder and reishi tincture.
Oh,
so,
wow.
So I designed this elixir to drop it right into the heart to expand Shen, to be doing the spirit of the heart. The love of relationships, intimacy. So, yeah.